Whether you're a Class 5 rafter or just looking for a couple of laughs, these two have you covered. Welcome to Aaron and Zach's Better Than Mediocre Rafting Show.
Well, it's Friday, so we're back with Aaron and Zach's Better Than Mediocre Rafting Show with Dougie this week. Welcome to the show, Freshie.
Thanks.
And I was gonna start skipping the intro, but I thought, you know what, I should probably keep doing our intro. It's probably important so people have context of the show. And it's basically us just talking about rafting. This is really meant as entertainment. I mean, I think that we have some knowledge, but we're really just here to like have some chats, talk to each other. And we get a lot from the audience. So those of you listening, watching, chiming in with comments, like we're learning from that. So this is meant as entertainment and a discussion. And we hope you all enjoy it. We certainly enjoy it. And don't forget to like and subscribe, do all the things. You can even join and become a member if you want. More on that next week. And yeah, welcome guys. Ready for a big episode?
Yeah, let's do this.
The topic this week is rafting waterfalls, and I have tons of videos for us to go through, which I think will be entertaining. But before we do, I feel like we always start off with other random stuff. So like even though the topic is rafting waterfalls, we may not get to that for 20 minutes because I have a bunch of other topics to bring up. And those topics are just fun. Like these are stuff I would talk to you guys about anyway, and I love hearing what our audience thinks. So I'm just going to get started with the first one, which Dougie will have something to chime in about here because we went skiing this week and I didn't wear a helmet. And everybody gave me a hard time for not wearing a helmet. And Aaron, do you remember, like, when's the last time you went skiing, Aaron?
Like 3-4 years ago. Was
everybody wearing a helmet?
I mean, at the resort, yeah, but not in the backcountry.
I haven't skied much for like 10 years. I've skied like a few days a year here and there. But I mean, most of my skiing was like 15, 20 years ago. Nobody wore helmets, right? Nobody. And all of a sudden, everybody's wearing a helmet. If you don't wear one, your friends make fun of you.
I would push back on a little bit. I don't think we gave you a hard time. We commented.
You commented. Yeah, okay. You didn't give me a hard time. You commented a lot.
Yeah. I just started wearing one last year.
And is this backcountry or is this resort skiing?
Resort skiing. And I guess, I've heard two things. One is other people just running into you.
Yeah.
Like those snowboarders that Zach loves.
Snowboarders are the worst.
And then also just the ice. I mean, like that day we were out there, it was pretty icy. You could easily fall back and smack your head. Even with the helmet on, it was enough to give you a concussion if you fall hard enough. So helmets are, I don't know, they make sense.
I mean, this is kind of related to the whitewater discussion with helmets. Like, do we wear helmets all the time doing everything? I mean, but basically, like back in the day, was there a rash of head injuries? Was that like a major problem in skiing? And all of a sudden it was like, we should wear helmets?
There was some high profile ones. I don't know the statistics of when they.
I'm going to say this. I feel like the ski patrollers, like they just say, "Oh, it helps keep everything together." It doesn't keep anyone alive. It just keeps all the mess together. That's what
when people hit their head.
Yeah. It's like because they're not designed to go that. They're not designed for the highs. They're not designed for how fast we ski, from my understanding. I mean, we're getting way outside.
I mean, because there's because they're whitewater specific helmets. Now there's skiing specific.
Yeah, but the ski specific helmets are like the bike helmets. They're designed for like a 20 mile per hour impact. How many of us are skiing faster than 20 miles per hour when we crash? A lot.
Dougie.
That's what Sonny Bono is the high profile one I was mentioning.
Was that a head? No, was that a head injury?
Yeah, he slammed into a tree, and I think serious head injury. From what Noah might know more. I don't remember, but it was he died.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it's an interesting question. Is like what that kept people alive who didn't. And the same is true with bike helmets. Like how many people does that actually save? Or motorcycle helmets? Does it actually save many lives? Motorcycle helmets? Are we better off just like?
It's
totally splatter themselves.
Okay, bike. I'm gonna wear a helmet biking. I'm gonna wear a helmet motorcycling for sure, 100%. But am I gonna? I mean, skiing where it's like soft snow and I don't know.
I remember, I mean, going back to biking, there was studies that came out a couple, like say 7 years ago that said commuters who wore a helmet were more likely to get hit by
Yep.
a car because cars were like, oh, that person knows what they're doing. And they would like not be as careful.
Yeah. There's some weird stuff too. Like you don't wear one, you're more cautious. I've heard that. Like there's some studies that say like you're not wearing a helmet, then you're not going to go for it as aggressively, and you're actually safer. I mean, that's totally depends on the person. I just think it's such a low level. It's not that hard to throw a helmet on, and the consequence of not having.
You know what? I gotta tell you the only thing, and I'm having some hesitation to wear helmet skiing because I never have. But also, when my whole head and my ears are covered, I don't feel like I have the same like awareness of my surroundings.
Well,
okay, hold on there.
Hold on.
First of all,
this is my good kayaking helmet. I put these ear things on recently to keep my ears warm, but I just like I feel confined a little bit, and I didn't feel like I was as aware of the situation with just the ear thing he's on.
Okay, but Zach, time out. We got you've made so many comments here that it just need to be knocked out. First of all, snow is soft. Water is softer than snow. So
well, there's rocks though in the river.
And there's trees when you're skiing.
Not always.
There's ice.
You can not go tree skiing. Like you can just go on the open runs.
And I'm gonna say this: there's people everywhere with hard ski. You're wearing skis. Skis are gnarly. Like we just talked the other day. You worry about your dog getting cut by your skis, Zach. I mean, like
but I'm not gonna put a helmet on my dog.
You can get hit in the head with your own ski.
I would say that it should, like motorcycle helmets, they've all made them so that any kind of helmet, it doesn't block your peripheral. I mean, I know there's a sense of like being closed in.
For me, it's a sense. There's like when I have a helmet over my ears, I feel especially like, and so when my head's free, I can like look for around more, see things. But I'm worried the helmet's going to take that sense away.
Okay.
You still have a beanie on, which
that's what I was going to back up to. Is like, okay, so when you go skiing,
I wear a beanie all the time.
Do you wear goggles?
I do now, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, if you're wearing ski goggles, the helmet adds no more impact to your vision than the goggles do.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's not the impact of the vision, because like they said on this helmet, these ear things don't affect my vision either. But like having the ears over my head.
How often do you ski without your ears covered? Like Dougie said.
Well, my beanie doesn't count as different than like a big thing. I'm not going to fight this. I'm going to start wearing a helmet skiing. It's my new thing. I'm going to do it. I just want to bring it up.
I think you shouldn't. I think you just don't do it.
But I think it's interesting that like back in the 80s and 90s, nobody wore a helmet. Sure. Zero people.
Yeah, now, we were learning to bike ride. We didn't wear helmets.
Now when you don't wear a helmet, all your friends comment on it nonstop. Which is, you guys care about me. I appreciate it. I just want to bring
I would say too, Zach, I've always worn a helmet with ear flaps. I think I have on boating. Maybe I haven't. I don't know. But I think you just get used to it. So the reason you're not when you put the ear flaps on your boating helmet, you're not used to it yet. So it seems like you're constricted.
That could be
in there.
It. Yeah.
But
I'm trying to get used to it because
sometimes it's nice because when the whitewater is really big and scary and really loud, it makes it all quieter and it's not as intimidating.
I just started.
And if you flip over in your kayak, your ears don't get douched with the water so much, so it doesn't like mess up with your equilibrium, I find, as much. So I really like having my ears covered. Like when you're wearing that skull cap. Oh,
I can't
so
stand
nice.
skull caps. But But it's been so cold out. I'm starting to wear my helmet with the ear flaps just because I'm trying to.
Now, what about backcountry skiing? Do you wear a helmet backcountry skiing?
I don't wear a helmet ever, so of course I don't wear backcountry skiing.
No, Dougie though.
Oh, Dougie.
I don't do much backcountry. If I did, I would wear it. I think, right?
Why? Would you wear it skinning up the hill?
No.
I don't know.
You
but
for
it's
sure
pretty
don't.
Warm. Honestly, it's like it's way warmer than a beanie. So I sometimes
they're nice and warm.
I work at Mount Hood. Sometimes I have to stand out in the snow, and I just throw it on as a warm layer.
Yeah, we don't have your great hair, Zach. Those of us who have less hair, it really makes a big difference. So,
but I would.
Yeah, I think backcountry skiing, there's less people that run into you, but I generally ski more trees when I'm backcountry skiing. So it's kind of but when I'm skiing trees backcountry, I'm super careful. I'm not like at the resort where I'm like, let me go crush the trees out. I'm like way more hesitant in the trees.
Back to your ear flaps on your whitewater helmet. About 3 months ago, I started wearing earplugs for whitewater because of the cold water. And it took me just about 3 or 4 times to get used to it, and then now I don't even notice the
Oh, they're so
constricting or the
nice.
I see. I tried wearing them a couple times.
I love earplugs for whitewater kayaking. You go upside down, and it's like, man, the brain freeze doesn't hit nearly as bad. It's so much easier to roll my boat up. I just like, it's kind of weird. You're like, it's kind of a weird sensation though, because you're paddling through rapids. You're like, it's kind of like you're in a movie or something like that. You're not really there because everything's like quieter. It's so quiet. You know, big wave hits you. It's just like,
there's two things there. One, I got the earplugs. I wore them 3 or 4 times. I was like, I just don't like these. I stopped wearing them, recognizing I should. But it also affects my hearing, which is important. Like if I'm communicating with other boaters, people would be like, oh, they come up to paddle, they paddle next to me and say, hey, Zach, blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, what? Like I can't have conversations.
I have the Doc's Pro plugs that have the hole in the middle of them.
Yeah, the ones I have the hole
it's
too.
A tiny hole, but it feels like I can hear fine with them.
Oh, really? You guys buy the expensive ones. I just buy the cheap ones that got the little cord on that are for working, you know, the work ones.
Yeah, no, I have better ones than that, but not that bad.
The Doc's ones are good. I actually wore them in the pool lap swimming yesterday because I wanted to try them.
But what I like about them too is I'll wrap them around the back of my helmet, so I can easily just like pull one out and talk to someone and just put it right.
Well, the Doc's have a cord too.
Yeah, so if you just wrap the cord around, but mine are so cheap I don't care about losing them either. So it's like whatever, I'll pull it out. Yeah, talk to you, blah blah blah. Oh, here comes a rapid. Like I actually worried about this, I'll put it in. You know, versus like when you're just cruising along. So I feel like it keeps me warmer. And then I like them a lot when I'm doing training, Zach. That's when I wear them. Is when I'm training, doing some. So when I'm swimming rapids for training, you know, like with people, like when I'm going to be in a bunch of water. But when you're in the white water and those rapids are on, you got to yell over the rapids anyways.
Yeah, it just adds one more element of
because here's the deal.
It's not like they cancel each other out. Like the rapids are loud and you have to hear things, so it's the same. It's progressively worse with the ear thing.
No, it's not progressively worse because here's the deal. If the rapid is at like 75 decibels, I'm making this up.
This is not science. Hey, Aaron is making this up. Don't listen to this. It's not advice. Do not listen to this entertainment.
But here, Zach, here. 50 decibels or whatever it is, you know, you're a certain loud. And so I got to talk above 50 decibels for you to hear me, right? I got to be louder, right? Well, the earplugs, they make the 50 decibels more quiet. You still got to talk above that level.
You're saying that they're like in parallel what they do. They're additive. They're in series. I know what you're trying to say, but no, it makes it harder to hear. That's a fact.
Not in the whitewater that much, though.
It's a fact. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
What do you got, Dougie? What do you got?
No, I think I'm on board with Aaron on that, but also he's wearing the ones that are made for sound protecting your hearing too. Those are going to make things a lot quieter, I would say.
Yeah. No, that's
I think that Docs do a good job of letting sound in. I think Zach, I can hear you almost as well with them in as without them.
It affected my hearing a little bit. It just was annoying. The biggest thing is it was
super annoying.
You know what's
it's like
you know what's annoying? You know what's annoying? You playing with cards. That's annoying. Put the cards down, Zach.
All right.
Getting your ears drilled out, I hear.
That's annoying.
That's actually that's what I was going to say too. Is if you've had any friends who've had those surgeries, you don't want them. And I got the growths, like they're partially closed, and so I get all sorts of problems when I get water in my ears now. And it's
what?
Yeah, there's that. You know,
that was a joke, Aaron. That was a joke.
Aaron, when was the last time you had a doctor look in your ear, or how do you know that?
Well, I know because first of all, normal doctors don't know what they're looking for, and they're like, "Oh, it's weird," blah blah, and you're like, "Oh, that's a cold water growth," blah 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 blah, and they're like, "What? Oh, I don't know anything about it." It's just like classic.
For the audience that doesn't know, can you want to explain what this is? Because this does affect us for rafting too.
So yeah, like this is really common with surfers and with whitewater kayakers in particular, is that cold water go into your ears over and over again. It causes this bony growth to grow and start to grow across in your ear. And so some people have to have like, I don't know if they still do this. I don't think they do this. They used to have to cut right behind your ear and pull your ear back and go in there and chip it out. But now I've heard they can use that, and now I've heard that they could do some sort of sonic like sound thing to break it up.
So Aaron,
I don't know if that's true.
Does it happen with? I mean, I know you did a lot of water polo. Does it happen with swimming as well?
No, it's the cold water. Like I've heard, I don't know if this is true. A friend says in Santa Cruz, like everyone gets it in their left ear in Santa Cruz because the prevailing wind is from one side and they're looking at one angle, and so that evaporative cooling across it continuously he said everyone gets in the same ear. So I'm not sure if that's actually true, but
when I went lap swimming a couple days ago, that's why I tried the earplugs, is because I got water in my ear and it wouldn't come out all day.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Is that because I have a little bit closed off?
We're not. Aaron's not a doctor, Dougie.
I'm gonna say it could be.
Please don't take his advice. He's not.
I'm gonna say this. I've had more problems with it now than I did when I was a kid.
Yeah, don't listen to any of that.
Since I've had the growth, I feel like I've had more problems, and it doesn't come out as easily. That being said, it's still
I'll get a doctor to look at my ears.
Let's not give medical advice.
No, I'm gonna give medical advice.
Let's take this to a new level.
Somebody posted the name of it.
That was Noel Fruitnick. Do you remember Noel Fruitnick?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Benign osteoma.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on because we're going to be here all day if we don't.
We really talked minimal about boating.
First, I want to share that last week we were talking about Middle Fork of the Salmon and low water rafts getting stuck on the right side of Tappan Falls. And I mentioned a sweet boat getting stuck. And this is that sweet boat. This is a photo of the sweet boat getting stuck there.
Is this your sweet boat, Zach?
Nope.
Oh, convenient.
This I would share if our sweet boat got stuck there. I'd probably share that video or photo. I have video of it. I mean, I got stuck there. We've reviewed it. I think even when I got stuck. No, I got stuck in the middle channel. It just was too low. But this is a 2-tube sweep boat. It's like a cat boat sweep boat, and I guess they broke their sweep arms when this happened. At least their front one is pretty bad, and they took a couple 3-to-1s to get it off. So. Thought I'd share that video because it's just following up with last week. And then I want to share some video. I went back. Aaron, do you remember us reviewing? Oops, hold on. Share. Do you remember one of our first video reviews? We reviewed that Smith River video. It was like Carnage from Boatsmith.
Vaguely.
It was one of our first video reviews, and I went and watched it. It was awful. We were using Zoom back then, and I mean, it was pretty bad. I watched parts of it, but I mean, the video is great. We were awful. Let me just put it that way. We're better than mediocre.
We're better now than we were there. We're clearly better.
Yeah, we're better now. Yep. We were pretty bad. It was embarrassing to watch parts of it. Anyway, I was pretty bad. Aaron, you were great. But we had a long talk about perimeter lines. And I bring this up because I was talking to a boater a couple of days ago about this person's fear of boating after swimming a couple times and feeling like they were going to maybe die swimming. And at one point they fell out of a boat, flipped. Everybody went for a swim. And this person couldn't grab the perimeter line and swam most of Greenwall, and it was a very terrifying experience. And it's just got me thinking about like, and this person's lost enthusiasm for boating, like loves boating, but is now super scared of it. And I feel like there's some things like what can we do to alleviate some of these things? And so I just want to show this video again, this part of the video, and talk about like kind of some of my issues with what happened in the video.
No, they take a long swim here.
And so what we talked about, and my issue is they're just holding on to, they don't try to get on the boat. They don't try to self-rescue. They just hang on to their perimeter line.
Mm-hmm. And
their feet are dangling in the bottom and down. I feel like this is an irresponsible situation. And I mean, it kind of goes, there's a pool they just went through, and now they're swimming the next rapid too, because they're so dedicated to holding onto their boat.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like we've all done this section together. We know this run. Like in here, I'm going to say, like, I feel like the situation here would be to let go of the boat and do some aggressive self-rescue. Or maybe hold on to the boat here, maybe. But as soon as it gets to the done with this, and I mean, their feet should be up right now. So like holding onto the boat forces your feet down. And at this point, now that they're done with this rapid, there's like 70 feet before the next rapid. Like swim to shore or get on the boat.
Yeah, I know multiple people have jacked their shoulders too, holding onto a perimeter line. Like really messed them up. Yeah. Yeah.
Like they go through here. but there is calm water and time before they now enter. You see now they're entering this next rapid is not a good one to swim. There's a couple sieves in this one. There's a sieve on the right and there's an undercut wall on the left.
No, I'd like to be holding on to the raft in that one. Zach, I would say my comment would be is, okay, you're boating class 4. You need to be able to climb up on top of your upside down raft. I'd say you need to be able to self-rescue. Like that to me is that from what I see, that we can talk about all those other things, and I think those are farther down the trough versus, first of all, keeping your boat upright, great. But if your boat's upside down, you need to be able to climb on top of it. And it's not that hard to climb on top of it, particularly if you put some ropes, put some stuff along the bottom to make it easier for you to climb on top of your boat. But I think the idea that if your plan is my boat is going to flip and I'm going to hold on the side of it until someone can come rescue me, and you're running Oregon Hole Gorge, that seems like to me is the problem. We could talk about all those other things, and those are all really good points farther down. But the big one is like you got to be able to climb on top of your own boat, and if you can't, you need to get in better shape, and you need to have systems. If there's nothing on the dock on that boat to make it easier for them to climb on top. If they had a line going across the bottom and something, they've been able to climb up on top of it, get on top of the boat, get out of the water. Both of them get up there. They could have probably navigated the boat with their paddles and paddle it to shore. There's a lot they could do. They could have flipped the boat back over. So many things they could have done. But instead, they're just victims going downstream, holding on the side of their boat, which holding on the side of the boat is dangerous too. So
it's not. I'm not going to say that it's always dangerous. I'm going to say that it can be dangerous. So, let me just come back to this for a second. First of all, what's up, Matt? Matt's an awesome dude. Like, talking about somebody who's done training in their life. I mean, Matt is a trainer and somebody who's done an immense amount of training. Just Google his name and you'll be like, wow, that guy is a stud. So anyway, welcome to the show, Matt. It's good to see you. And hopefully you'll be in Oregon soon. I know we keep missing each other. Maybe you're in Oregon now.
Agreed. It requires training practice, and that's a great point. It does require practice and training. Yep,
exactly. Like you can't just it can't be theoretical. You have to go out and do it. And so, I think the point that I think Matt, you'd agree, like to be boating class 4, like Aaron's right. You should be able to get back on your boat. So this friend of mine who I was kind of chatting with, was a paddler in somebody else's boat in Greenwall, and then that boat flipped, and this person, their reaction was, I need to grab the boat, but they couldn't. And they kind of blamed that on their bad swim. And I'm going to say, like, if I'm going to fall out in Greenwall, I don't know if I want to grab the boat necessarily. If I can't get back in quickly, I don't know if I want to be by my boat.
No, it's interesting ways. Like, it could have been worse if you would help on the boat too. It could have been better. It could have been worse. Yeah. Sometimes holding on the boat helps you out and makes your life better. Other times it makes it worse. So.
But my thinking is some people are pushing it too hard without proper practice and training. Right. So, I mean, Greenwall is a class 5 rapid. So maybe going on that trip might have been not a good idea. But I'm going to also make the claim that it might have been a PFD related thing.
Oh God, yes.
Like if you're wearing like a 16-pound minimal PFD and you fall out in Greenwall, you're going to have a bad swim. Like it's going to be one of those, like, no matter how awesome you are, it's going to be really bad. And that's where I think.
How big is this person too?
I'm not sure. But yeah, like for me, if I have a 16 float PFD, I'm going to have a really terrible experience that could really like mentally hurt me for the rest of the trip and also change my thoughts about boating. So as we go do these more difficult runs, I think my advice was maybe don't do more difficult runs, be super happy in class 3 and look at a better PFD.
Yeah. Yeah. And you talk about the PFD, and I think another aspect is the helmet fitting right. Like it's kind of funny. We were talking about the helmets before, but we've all seen that people take swims and they haven't practiced their helmet, and their helmet, and I know I've talked about this before, comes over their face and they can't see very well. So then they're like leaning back to look, but then all their flotations out of the vest is out of the water, and they're trying to be on their back. And that's one of those problems too. There are people on your back trying to swim. You got your flotation out of the water, and you only have 16 pounds to begin with. I mean, there's just, yeah. I mean, at 165, a 16-pound flotation vest. I don't want to swim big rapids in that. And I'm 165. You know, I'm not that big. Like,
and you're like a surfer, water polo coach, like a pretty good swimmer.
Yeah.
You swam a lot of rapids on purpose and accident.
Yeah. And I'd still be like, nah, that doesn't sound fun.
Looking at that video, I would find it hard to find a minute to jump on the bottom.
I think what happened, though, Doug, sorry to interrupt. They didn't show the video between here. I don't know if you remember the spot and here. There's like 70 feet of flat water.
Okay.
Right. They just didn't show that 70 feet of them just floating, holding onto the boat. Okay. I don't know if you remember this part of Oregon Hole Gorge, Dougie, but they just didn't show the time there was.
But even if you go back up above in that part where they're floating up above, they could have climbed up on top of it in that other place too if they had. I'm not
sure they like.
I think
a good boater. Let's watch this again. Like you can see this shows that flat water section kind of.
Yeah.
But like somebody who's experienced
right
can
there,
right
in that area, get to the end. I'm gonna climb myself up on top. I'm gonna get out of the water so quick I can stand up. Right, go up over the side.
Yeah. Right there, no, you can't get back.
Not there, not in there. No.
Hold on, and then now get on it.
Yeah, right here. Now
there's a moment
get to the
here
end
to get on it. There's time.
Get on there. That's a good
they're
time.
just waiting. I think
all this time, then get back on.
It does, but when I say that, it just makes me kind of what Matt said. It's all about training. Like you really have to practice for that, so you're ready on the rapid, and you have to kind of know the river, so you know when that flat stretch is going to be, so you know to make the decision of going for an eddy, swimming to an eddy, or trying to stay with the boat.
But I think if you've got the perimeter line going sideways across, you can start climbing up it anywhere.
What do you mean sideways across?
On the
not going back to stern.
Okay, so putting a line straight across the middle, front to back.
Yeah, somewhere side to side. Or you have the little stuff that goes through the grommet hole. So you just reach up over the side, grab, and start pulling yourself up. And I've had times where I start to grab myself and pull myself up, and I flip the boat back over. I'm like, great, the boat's right side up. Now we can climb in the right side up boat, and away we go. But I'm just gonna one of my big. I say this is like a life skill. Don't be a victim. Don't sit there just float and wait for somebody else to make your life better.
Sure.
But
that I think that
proactive.
Yeah. If that takes
generally you're better off. You're better off.
To have the judgment of what to do when. It's just training, I think.
Yeah, flip your boat upside down and try to climb on it and figure out how you can climb on it. And try climbing out some different ways from different spots and Yeah.
And Matt's agreeing with you, taglines on the bow and the stern. He's saying that same thing. Like you can put straps there to help do it. This is why I sometimes don't like perimeter lines, because it encourages people to just hold on and do nothing. Right? It almost encourages it, and in a way where your feet are down. Like when I think of the things I fear the most on rivers, it's getting stuck on logs and foot entrapments. So it's really hard to hold on to perimeter line and have your feet out of the water. Like it almost encourages your feet to go down. But anyway, we're on a side discussion.
I think Zach, I think that's a good point about the perimeter lines. And the reason I want to have a perimeter line on my boat in general is if I want to keep people with the raft. That's why.
Like if I'm a guide and I want my people who aren't experienced, I'm like, hey, I need you to swim. The boat flips, and you just swim the rapid. Hold on, I'm going to pull you in. Or if it depends on the type of water, like if it's really continuous and not super hard, maybe grabbing the boat makes sense. If it's rocky and pool drop,
low water, exactly, low water, pool drop, no, we don't want them holding on the side of the boat. They're just going to get smashed around. They're better off just floating away from the boat. Particularly, there's a nice pool down below.
But my friend, I just want to get back to advice. So, I have a friend who loves boating and has had a couple of bad swims. His most recent was in Greenwall, where they flipped and then had a bad swim. What advice would you guys have?
But I think what flotation vest are you using? I think is a really good one. How much do you practice swimming rapids? How much time do you actually spend in the water doing it? I feel like also the people who I typically have the worst swims that I've seen are the people who are just not even conceiving of the fact they could end up in the water. They're just I don't know. I remember a long time ago we had a trip where Emily Murdoch was on it, and Maya, it's this woman who worked in the rental center with us, and we were on the Tuolumne at you're on this trip, and we decided to surf this wave at the bottom of Brinsaway at Surf City. And I was like, hey, it was like 40, just over 4,500. I was like, oh, we pull out there, and and I was like, we might flip. And Emily's like, I don't know if this is a good idea, Aaron. I was like, yeah, well, we might flip. And then Maya's like, oh, I trust you, Aaron. We go in and just like go over so fast. We're just like over, just blam. Emily comes up laughing, and she's like, oh God, she's laughing about it. And Maya's like freaked out. Because like she wasn't like Emily was prepared. Like she's like, yeah, this isn't a good idea. Something bad could happen here. She had it in her mind, like, yeah, this could happen. And so it happened. She's like, yep, I'm here. And I think Maya was not ready for it at all.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of it too. Is I feel like a lot of bad swims I've seen are like that, where people aren't mentally prepared for swim or what it could be like, the chaos of it. And I think if you're like, a lot of people actually think it. I think a lot of people are surprised how bad it isn't, because they think it's going to be awful. And then there's the people who don't think it's going to be bad at all. And they're like, oh God, that was terrible. So I think that's why having some experience and spend some time swimming some rapids helps hey, what it's like swimming rapids, what's like going through a bunch of waves. And then you're setting yourself more success. You're not going to be in that position where you're like, oh God, that was craziness. So is that
how do people get experience swimming rapids? They just go out and do it? They take a class? Like how do people, if somebody we all feel, I think it's important, especially if you're doing more difficult rivers, to practice it.
You said swimming rapids?
Yeah. How do you? Is there something you can? Is the Swiftwater? Is that why everybody's like take a rescue class, because they make you swim in a rescue class?
I think that's part of it for sure.
I think that's a great part of Swiftwater courses, is the swimming in whitewater. If done well, where you're doing some swimming in whitewater, I think that's a great part of it. I think there's a lot of rivers where you can swim rapid just for fun, and do that and recognize those spots and try to challenge yourself a little with not too much. But,
yeah, especially in warm weather.
I think that's a lot of guide school. That's why I do that a lot in guide schools, or if ever I do training, we're always in the water swimming rapids, because that's a problem for a lot of guides, is they're so scared of falling out. They're at the top of the rapid, not thinking about what I need to do if I'm if here or there. They're like, oh God, I do not want to fall. If I fall here, oh God, that's bad. I do not want to fall. I do not want to fall. I do not want to fall. And they're so worried about falling out that they're not.
Guys, you're saying guides?
River guides. Yeah, river guides. I think that's a really big hang up for a lot of guides, is they're really scared of swimming. And it takes a lot of mental energy. Oh yeah.
You think there's actual river guides who are scared of swimming?
Tons. Oh God. Yeah. Zach, really?
Yeah, I think so. Sure.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean you think so?
I mean, I would say maybe not class 4 guides, but class 3 guides for sure. Yeah.
Lots of class 3 guides for sure. And I think
their experience, in guide school, they learn how to do some of that swimming and how to deal with the raft, but not as much. Or what Aaron said about they don't want to swim, but they also don't want to be responsible for the raft flipping, because then it's on them. Like just super careful about they don't want the raft to flip, rather than. Well, it's a good thing to think about, but
yeah, it's good to be. Priority. I mean, it's good to be careful the raft doesn't flip for sure.
Yeah.
It's a good.
But more, I think they're just more. They're focused on I don't want to swim. I don't want to swim. I
personally don't want to swim.
Yeah. And oh God, I'm scared of swimming. And I think there's a lot of class 3 guides that are that way. And I think a lot of guide schools don't spend enough time swimming in the water.
I think that's an issue. And I have to say, like, this person wants to take our classes and get professional training from our classes. And I've been thinking about it, would our classes be good for this person? And we don't do a lot of swimming. Like, people in our classes don't really want to. And so it's like really hard to get them to do it. Go swim the rapid. And so we don't do enough of that. That's where we were talking about guide schools a few weeks ago, and I was like, guide schools are silly for private boaters. Well, that's a case maybe with whether good, because
you mean
guide schools,
rescue schools?
No, like real guide schools. Okay. Although I know when we went to guide school, we swam the whole South Fork.
Yeah.
So we swam a lot of rapids. I don't know if modern guide schools are doing that kind of swimming.
I bet.
Yeah, sure. We were a little overzealous on that one, Zach. I think we may have gone a little too much. Yeah, we were flipping rafts everywhere, swimming everywhere.
I think it's good.
Upside down for Satan Cesspool, wasn't it?
Yeah, we ran it upside down on purpose.
Yeah,
that was the last day. They just decided to flip the boat upside down and run the whole thing.
And run the rapid upside down on purpose. It's practice. It's things you might do. I'm like, let's get real. Let's go through some comments really quick, and then we'll move on. Type 5 doesn't mean more flotation. necessarily. It's a different type of PFD. It means specialty PFD. But type 5 generally has more flotation.
No.
Yes, type 5 just means specialty PFD. And there's no flotation requirements.
Yeah.
There's type 5 PFDs that are like there's a type 5 that's just like a buoy you hold on to.
No, I know. You're saying in general they have more flotation. I'm like, no, they don't in general have more flotation than type 4. Type 3, sorry. Type 5 do not in general have more flotation than type 3.
That's probably true, yeah.
The highest flotation,
but
flotation vests are type 3 vests nowadays, not type 5.
No, the highest are commercial. The commercial ones.
The commercial ones are 22 now.
Not all of them.
That's the highest commercial ones these days are 22.
I'll have to look into that. All right.
What's that? Commercial is type. What type is commercial?
They're type 5 because they got the
and they're
little
type
pillow.
5 because it's a special because the neck pillow is a specialty item.
Got
And
it.
Zach, I believe they count the neck pillow as part of the flotation, which doesn't do anything unless you're like this deep underwater. You know, it's not helping. It's not helping you get you on the surface. So it's actually really less than 22 in a lot of ways. When you compare it to like, if I have 22 pounds on my body, that's way better than 22 pounds, including all the. There's a lot of flotation in those little pillows. So back in the days, the old America's Cup had 32.
Yeah, that thing was amazing.
Yeah, the America's Cups, like dude. You would float so high in those. It was they were incredible.
But they had the head pillow too.
They did, but when you have 32 pounds and the head
Doesn't
pillow
matter.
is significantly part of it, you're still whatever, 28.
I mean, that's most of my career. We had America's Cups, and you're right. They have been getting kind of less.
Yeah,
I'm looking at right now on the NRS website. The Big Water Youth, that's the youth PFD. The NRS Big Water Commercial PFD. How much flotation it has.
I remember at All Outdoors, the guides would use those America's Cup, cut off the head thing, and that would be their guide vest.
I think they were required to, weren't they?
They used to be required to have the same
Aaron,
vest.
right here, the NRS Big Water 5, which is right now like this the most commonly used one, 25.1 pounds.
Oh, really? 25. Oh, that's good to know. I'm happy to hear that. I did not know.
And I'm guessing extra, like the one we use, the Extra Sport.
The Extra Sport, I don't think it has as much. I don't think it has as much.
You don't think the Extra Sport has as much?
I think it's 22.
Extra Sport.
The NRS do seem to have more. That's true. And the NRS is the same as their the guide vest with basically the same flotation cut as a guide vest. So that sounds good. Okay.
Extra Sport stopped making the one that we use. The one I like. It's really nice.
But it doesn't have much. It's cute little. It's like cute little panels.
Whatever. It has good flotation. Anyway, so but fine. Anyway, we're on a side topic. Class type 3 and type 5. All the type 5 means is has specialty equipment. So that could mean a rescue harness or it could be a neck pillow. It could actually not even be like a PFD. There's some type 5 PFDs that have like 10 pounds of flotation because they're made for sailboats, like for throwing things overboard. So that doesn't mean what we think. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I'm 220 and those 16-pound PFDs, I mean,
You look cool, Zach. Zach, you look cool though.
I feel cool too.
It's easy to pack it away in your dunnage bag.
In
your gear bag, yeah.
It's hard to find a good rafting PFD. I know we've talked about this before, but
we've talked about this every time. That somebody needs to make the 22, 25-pound PFD with a nice pocket that looks cool and cool colors.
There's the other discussion too that wetsuits add so much flotation.
And dry suits do too. I mean, a lot of my boating is dry suit. And there's air in the dry suit, so like I feel
depends if you burp it out or not. A lot of people burp a lot.
Even if I burp it out, there's air in the dry suit.
Not that much.
There's air, but I think a wetsuit inherently has more buoyancy.
I actually
don't say things that are true, Dougie. Hey, hold on. For the record, we don't have. That's not a fact. I think it has more flotation. Isn't enough?
I'm going to say this. I wrote a whole article on flotation. We went into a lot of depth. No, you're right, Doug. A wetsuit adds a lot of flotation.
Oh, so you're gonna go on a limb.
It adds a lot. It definitely adds a lot.
How much is a lot? A pound?
No, I have to pull it up, but I think
no, it's more than that.
Five plus pounds, at least 5
pounds. Think about pushing a wetsuit underwater when you're washing it. Like it's a lot of force up.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's look it up. Dustin says, "Welcome, Dustin. Should you boat a rapid or not when to swim?" I mean, I boat rapids. I'm out to swim all the time. I'm going to say you probably shouldn't sup a rapid or not when to swim because supping means swimming. But I mean, we wouldn't boat more than class 3 if we're not willing to boat rapids. We're not willing to swim.
I'm willing to swim most of the rapids. I boat up through class 4.
Yeah, but what about all the class 5s?
Willing versus what? Like want to, and we'll jump in the water above it. I mean, I think there's a difference.
I think, or even just like, would you boat a rapid? Would you boat a rapid where you're like, I don't want to swim that one no matter what? Like there's rapids where there's sieves here and there. Like what if it's like class 3, but there's like 2 sieves? I can make the move in my boat, but I can't swimming.
Yeah.
Like I have to get left at the bottom, or there's a log on the right.
Yeah, I think I did. I forget when I did the whole calculus, which is about 5 pounds of flotation.
The wetsuit's 5 pounds of flotation.
Yeah, about 5 pounds of flotation. I don't remember how but I remember I figured it out. And I just looked it up. It's about 5 pounds, which you're right, Doug. It's a lot. And I'll say, I think it's easier to swim in a wetsuit than in the dry suit. The dry suit limits your mobility, particularly if you've been staying upright a while. It just like suctions onto you and you can barely move. You're like vacuum packed. You know?
Yeah.
It's true.
Right.
I think it's easier to swim in a wetsuit, but it's not as cool.
It's way more comfortable to swim in the dry suit for sure.
I think so. Advice for my friend might be like, maybe wear a wetsuit. You get 5 pounds of flotation, find a higher higher flotation PFD. Then swims shouldn't be as bad. Like you still may swim and it still might be terrible, but when you're just like barely have the flotation, swims can be pretty awful.
I wonder, Aaron, if do you know hydroskin? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, that doesn't have much.
Okay, I was gonna say you could
That's
throw
so
on a
thin.
hydroskin layer underneath your dry suit.
Yeah, you could. You could wear fleece underneath your dry suit too, and it's gonna do the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, you could have blow up arm things under your dry suit. It'd be great.
Yeah, no, I think, and Zach, I'd be curious too for that swim if you was in a wetsuit or a dry suit for that swim, and then because the other thing I would say is about a cold water swim. Being cold makes swim way more miserable. It's way harder to breathe. We know that's a variable too. When it's cold, you can't get the same amount of oxygen into you. You can't breathe as well. It really limits your ability to breathe. And so having your chest warm makes you can breathe better. That's going to make you swim better. So the dry suit is an important part of swimming in cold water for sure. Because there's that, there's the, I'm going blank on the term for it, the cold water immersion stuff. What's it called? You guys aren't helping me.
Oh, flesh drowning?
No. Yeah, hold on. I'll give it to you in a minute.
Zach, what about, I know some PFDs, they make additional flotation you can put in like a pocket.
Not anymore. That's that P vest I used to have. I still have one over there. That Lotus P vest had that P vest pocket.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really.
Do you think that could be something in the future, like maybe add a fanny pack that's got flotation or something?
Well, I think that the hard part is the flotate. Like, you can't just add a fanny pack because it might turn you under stomach.
Right. If you're unconscious, yeah.
Yeah. So like, it has to get approved. Like, I think it's really hard to get approved.
How much flotation do you think your little hip throw bag gives you?
I don't know, like half a pound.
You think it gives you any?
Oh yeah, it floats. Something
True.
floats. It's positive.
I don't know. I have no idea. But let's go back to my friend, because I've been thinking about this a lot. And my friend is like, I should take one of your courses and learn from professionals to get better. And of course, I want to sell courses. Like, I'm not going to say no to sell classes, but I really want to help this person.
Yeah.
And so I think, and our course might not be right because it might be too low of a level, and we don't make people swim. And so, other advice I'm trying to give, like I said, I think is, hey, there's no reason to run class 5.
Right.
Like, go to Dustin's, like, don't boat things you're not want to swim. That could change it right there. Just do like class 3.
Yeah.
If you're not able to swim, don't do it. Or, like, just get some flotation. Like, whether it's a better PFD, higher flotation PFD, and practice train. Like, go practice swimming. Get some friends. What do you guys think? Yeah,
those 3 are great ideas. I think they all make a difference.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Denise, it's good to hear that you put people in the water. That's awesome. I think I'm starting to realize the value of that. People may not tell me. I think it's people afraid of swimming rapids. They may not tell me. Sure.
Yeah. Exactly. Good point, Sean. Yeah, they're not going to admit to Zach. I'm scared of the river, boss. Let me go guide the Illinois.
For me, it's definitely.
I was a guide for a long time before I was a boss, though, and so my whole guiding career, I don't remember meeting anybody who was afraid to, as a guide.
How long were you a guide before you were a boss? Not that long, Zach.
Zach, I would say I'm afraid of swimming rapids if I'm guiding.
You remember, this is Doug. Remember Dougie? Dougie's the one who said he always rolls his kayak up because he's so terrified of swimming. Remember that?
He always rolls his kayak. Oh yeah,
because I remember when we used to go kayak with Dougie.
Yeah.
Dougie would be upside down forever, and he'd just keep trying to roll, and I'd be like upside. I'm like, I'm out. I'm gonna swim.
Well, Dougie
like,
also.
Dougie, how do you do that? He's like, I just don't want to swim. I'm so scared of swimming. And I'm like,
another Dougieism is he doesn't portage because he hates portaging.
Well, I don't hate portaging, but if it seems like I'll slip or it's more dangerous,
he's more worried getting hurt on the portage than running some big rapid.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah, Jared, we know what you meant. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make that. High flow versus regular, not class 3-4. I know.
Yeah, but Jared, you brought up a good point that a lot of people don't understand that difference.
I think that's what happens. People say, oh, type 5, and they think type 5 means rescue harness. They think type 5 means something. It really I would call them rescue vests versus non-rescue vests and high flow versus low flow. Yeah. Swimming in cold water on purpose. Yeah, I agree. Peter,
you could also, do it in the summer when it's more comfortable and you can practice.
Yeah. It's good to practice in cold water too, though, because
sure. But
it doesn't hurt.
The progression might be summer warm water and then winter cold water.
I started in extra sport high float 90s. Yeah, the extra sport high float. That's classic. That's what everybody. Yeah. For a long time, everybody had those big ones, like big shoulder things that came down, and all my heroes had that. You're like, oh man, that guy's awesome. He has that big old vest. Someday I'm gonna get that. Yeah, that was a cool thing. Not very comfortable though.
No, they weren't. I still have multiple of those sitting in.
Do you really?
Yeah, I've got like 3 of those at home.
That's cool.
Yeah.
When you say home, Hawaii, they're in Hawaii.
No, they're in my parents' garage. Okay. At home. Parents' garage home.
Aaron's Rafting Museum.
Yeah, my rafting museum, exactly. Anyone need to borrow some gear? Let me know. They'd love to get rid of it. So.
And Jared said that Mustang PFD, this one up here that we've shown a few times in the show. Yeah. It's a pretty sweet PFD. I think it had 25 pounds of flotation. It just has a couple things that are like, it has that handle, that entrapment on the back that's a little weird for boating. But going back to the life jacket thing, can we get a link to Aaron's? Oh yeah. Can I put links in the thing, Aaron?
Yeah, I can. Hold on, I got to go back to it and find it.
No, he wrote bogus. He wrote, not question you guys. Noel, you taught us, so you can question us all you want.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to swim bogus.
Yeah, it's like, would you ever run if you wouldn't swim, hold on. If your thing is, I won't run a rapid, I won't swim, you'll never see the North Fork of the American. You'll never, I probably wouldn't do the Cal Salmon. Would you swim freight train? Fine. It would be unpleasant. You never, we know people that have. You never do.
But I would say some of these rapids that we're talking about, though, is like freight train. Usually you're going to swim at the bottom of it. It's like, where are you going to fall out of this rapid?
Yeah, but on Cal Salmon, people flip in Last Chance and swim freight train. That guy, remember that guy we used to play poker, who used to boat with?
Yeah.
Who was a commercial guest. He did.
Tom
he rapped at Cherry Creek before he was a guide.
Yeah.
He swam. He flipped in Last Chance. He swam all of freight train and then wanted to be a guide. Yeah. There's a bunch. There's a lot of I wouldn't. Yeah, there's just a lot of places you'll never see but that's a smart decision. Like, hey, I will only run rivers where I'm willing to swim it. That's for some people, it's like, hey, that's a good boundary. Like, hey, this is where I'm going to come my boundary. Where if you want to see hard stuff, you're going to have to run stuff you don't want to swim.
So one last thing talking about the PFDs that I've seen a lot of people take bad swims because of is I really like the adjustable shoulder straps, where you can adjust them. And I like to loosen them up and get that flotation really low on my torso. But I've seen people take bad swims because they just crank on these shoulder straps as tight as they can. So they pull it up so the flotation sits way up here and they kind of chokes them out. And then the flotation's really high up and it doesn't help them as much. And so that's the last piece I would say for your friend is like, hopefully you didn't have your life jacket way up high and then you're going in and you just don't have the mobility. The flotation isn't helping you because half of it's out of the water. You want it low, so it's all in the water. I think that's a huge variable.
I mean, what I see a lot too is if you're pear-shaped, to get the PFD, it doesn't stay on you if you keep it low. So it's high, like above your pear. And
you
so
can
like
get it below the pear a lot. For most people, you can get it below the pear.
Yeah, but not always, and maybe it's not comfortable. So I think a lot of people like their PFDs are sitting. I just see this. Their PFDs are sitting super high where I know if they fall out, it's going to be super unpleasant.
I'll just say having that put in on one trip we were to work, we used to like fit everyone with their jackets and we get all shapes and sizes. And luckily our shoulder straps are loose. I just loosened the shoulder straps as loose as they could go. And almost everyone, I could get it below
it's fine on commercial, like on the PFDs we use, but it doesn't work on like a Astro lean jacket.
But that's my complaint about those vests. And that's my complaint about the Mustang is that you can't do that so it'll fit properly and safely.
It actually,
I think the Mustang's too high up. It's too high. I can tell. I already see.
I think it's pretty well built for big dudes. Actually, I'm surprised.
If you can't adjust the shoulder strap,
you can a little bit. No, there's adjustments there.
Yeah, not enough. You can't get it low enough.
It certainly would be nice to have more. But I'm a big guy. I get a little bit of a gut. Like it fits me. It fits my pair pretty nicely.
Does it fit underneath your gut? Does it hold your gut up and in? Is your gut like cupped?
I'll have to try it out and report back to you. But
when
I put it on, I was surprised how well it covered. Right? I was like, well, that's kind of nice. It compared.
It's like you're not pear shaped though.
I have a little bit of a pear, but it fit. And I'm a big dude though. Like I have like a large circumference.
Maybe more.
You're not pear shaped. You're round. You're like.
Is that more of an apple? Maybe is that what you mean, Doug?
Okay, well, it's not too of a shape, but like think about. I'm more like the PFD I was recommending private boaters use for a while was a Coquetat Centurion or Maximus or whatever. And it has a little bit more flotation, but it doesn't sit that low.
Yeah.
And so it's sitting up high on them. The Coquetat sits lower. I think what you're saying was it'd be nice to be even lower, like really crank those straps, set that thing down.
And I'll say the NRS one is the best right now that I've seen. Unfortunately, it's only 22 pounds of flotation. I'd rather have the 26 pounds and have it sit that low. And for sure. Yeah. I mean, I'd take the NRS shoulder system and put that on the Mustang, and I'd be buying a Mustang tomorrow.
I mean, this PFD by Palm, this thing is awesome. It has like 1920. Put this with like 24 pounds. It'd be sweet. This PFD is amazing. I mean, look at these straps. Look at these shoulder straps. That's like metal hardware holding them on. Like it's an amazing PFD. Yeah. Anyway, let's get through some of this stuff. Peter, I think swimming in cold water is key. Cold water immersion is a pretty deadly for boaters. And the more you immerse yourself in cold water, the better your reaction to it is. Like if you never immerse yourself in cold water, then fall in cold water, you could have an involuntary reflex where if you continually do it, your body adapts. So Peter, 100% agree. There's Aaron's article. There's a link in the comments. It's really, really well thought out, really well done.
Thanks.
Yeah, Clavey, same thing, man. Amazing rapid. Not a place you'd want to swim. Top to bottom for sure. Right. Have you ever swum top to bottom, Aaron?
No. I've seen people fall out at the top, like bump a little rock, and guides fall out the top
in the falls,
or above the falls. You know those little rocks at the entrance?
Yeah,
so you hit a rock and then fall. And then swim the falls. And you're like, it usually ends up better than you think it would. And I'm like, oh, and you're like, oh, it didn't look that bad. Yeah. So, but no, I would never want to do that.
Yeah, no, but an awesome rapid, for sure. They do not still make the America's Cup PFD. They're done. Oh, Mason. Well, I mean, now that you asked,
great.
I do have some wind footage. Let's pull that up. What do you think? I mean, it's a request, so we might as well do it.
We got a lot of other stuff here, Zach.
Guess what, Aaron? It's wind footage day. I had it ready to go just in case. Doing the royal flush.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, sketchy. It's amazing what you used to do when you were younger, Denise. Totally agree. You're like,
That's like the
yeah.
ski helmet thing.
Shoulder loops. Yeah, I mean leg loops too, if you're pear shaped, can really bring the PFD down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, and yeah, that's a way you really insult people is you tell them they need to have the leg loop on their PFD. People get really offended when you recommend
I've
that
had to tell people about it.
It sucks. That is one of my least favorite conversations. So hey, we're gonna need to put a little strap down through your crotch on your life jacket so it doesn't go right in up.
Yeah, I mean the person was the last time I did it had done a few trips with us, and that was his last trip. It's like I'm not doing that again. But I mean he had to. The PFD would not have stayed on and provided enough support. What's a SETA?
That's a SETA.
SETA helmet? Isn't
SETA
there a SETA helmet?
actually.
Yeah, I thought it was a SETA helmet, but I guess it's
Maybe they had PFDs.
yeah, maybe.
All right. Well, we have some video to watch. You guys want to get this in video to get to our topic of the week?
Oh yeah, are we ready for video?
Yeah, I gotta find it.
Is there anything else we're supposed to do beforehand? We're only 56 minutes in, Zach.
No, that's all of my. We're gonna power through some videos today, and we're gonna talk about rafting waterfalls. So I have a bunch of videos of rafting waterfalls just to talk about whether it's. Hold on, let's pause. There's one comment. Let me get rid of this. So the idea is rafting waterfalls a good idea?
Wow, that's Citea, huh?
I think so.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's fun. That's a fun waterfall.
Have you done this, Aaron?
Yeah, I kayaked it, didn't want to raft it. No, I didn't want to go down there and raft. I mean, I'm gonna say everywhere else in my life, I pretty much would rather be in a raft than a kayak. This is the one spot where I was like, I don't want to be in a raft in that. That looks bad news. That looks scary. And I definitely wouldn't want to be in the back guiding. That looks terrifying.
Yeah, just getting tossed.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my thing about look at that guy in the back right there. He's just holding on for dear life. Imagine doing that every day, just guiding that every day, holding on the back like that.
I bet you get pretty good at it though. Like he looks pretty stable.
That person just ate it on that rope swing. And I think, I mean, Aaron, that's an interesting, thing to talk about. Is like, I feel the same way. Like, I'm not dying to raft waterfalls. Where a kayak is kind of is better for, like, here's a good example. It just goes over waterfalls better.
Oh,
why? Yeah. Why? What are the reasons you don't want to raft waterfalls?
I think you just saw that flotation. The boat seems to just want to stop very quickly. And the kayak, you kind of hit it. You'll kind of, it's smoother. But it's much more abrupt in a raft. Would you guys say it's just like
I mean, it definitely lots of T-grips flying around for sure.
Yeah, T-grips, people flying around, heads flying around, stuff like that. Like, oh, cool, man, you landed it. But I definitely, if I'm gonna run waterfalls, I'd much rather R2. If I'm gonna run a waterfall, I'll R2. I don't want to be sitting in the back. And as a matter of fact, if I do run some big drop and I'm paddle boating, I always try to like scoot forward a thwart. When I'm going over a big drop, I'll just like scoot forward so I'm not in that back compartment if possible, just to minimize the opportunity to get through. And I know you can do different things like that. Oh.
So this is Houston Falls,
wow.
In our backyard. Look at this throwbacks came out quick. And I mean, this gets rafted in the summer. I mean, probably 30 rafts a day go over this. So This is just the carnage. Real right here.
I should go watch that sometime.
Oh,
I'm watching it now.
Oh, see, that's like I'm gonna say. Actually, I think the other waterfall, the New Zealand waterfall, looks not as mean. This looks more violent. The way it comes up and yeah,
it can be. Houston hits can be pretty violent. It can also look really easy. Is that an R2 right there?
That was R1.
It can look really easy and smooth, or it can just be awful. And it's a little flow dependent. Yeah, I think the pre-waterfall prep is massive in terms of like getting low, getting T grips out of the way, how to hold on. I mean, the prep there, you can see all the commercial boats. Ooh, the people have the paddles on the outsides. They're holding a strap on the outside. Everybody's getting down.
Would you want to be an outfitter running this commercially, sending 30 boats over this a day?
No. We had a commercial permit here for a year, and we never ran it. It was and we actually had people who had gone with other outfitters who then booked with us, and that we put in our literature we don't run Houston, but they showed up that day thinking we would, and they were super disappointed. And I was like, we're just not going to do it. Like, there's just so many stories, not just of guests getting hurt, but guides getting hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm not personally going to take that risk. I don't think it's worth it for just going over a little waterfall. But that's why I don't do day trips. I'm more into like wilderness trips and being out over time, and not like, I don't like the high risk things.
I like things that are repeatable, and that like I'm like, okay, I do this and it's going to work every time, and my people are going to stay in. If I do it right, it's going to work out well. And this doesn't seem. Maybe there is a line, and people probably
there's a line. There's people who style it day after day after day. There's guides who crush it out. And I mean, I did a few seasons working like fall trips on the white salmon running this, and one year I felt like I just had it dialed. I was just crushing every time. And the next year I kept swimming. Like, I kept falling out the back and doing stuff like that. And I just didn't go enough to really have my line dialed. This boat looks floppy.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, it just looks violent and mean, and people get hurt.
Denise, I'm with you here. I think the photos of rafting waterfalls are, you want the photos, but the doing it is kind of scary.
You R1 this a little while ago.
I R1'd it. Yeah.
That sounds better. At least you're in there by yourself.
Yeah. There's no there wasn't anybody to run into.
Yeah.
That's our bike toss. No paddles to hit, and I controlled this. So, man, that boat's not very inflated. You can just tell when the boat's sloppy going in. You're like, this isn't going to end well.
That's a stiff boat. Yep.
What do you think that? Oh, that actually. I'm not seeing a like.
Where'd you get these videos, Zach?
I just Googled rafting waterfalls. And it came up pretty quick. All the links to all the videos from the show are in the show notes for the show. So if you scroll down in the show.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Peter R. running it's pretty fun. Yeah, that's the thing, running the people is good. I mean, this is the thing about waterfalls. Like, that's the point. Is like, I got to do it to say I've done it.
Yeah.
But to Aaron's point, if it's not repeatable, this line doesn't look. If it's not repeatable, that's an issue, right? Like, I like to do things that I can repeat over time.
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah, that made me glad I haven't run more waterfalls in a raft.
Is there a classification between a waterfall and a drop? Like, what makes it a waterfall and not just a little drop in the river?
I think I would think about that. And this video, actually, good timing, Dougie. This video is kind of made me think about that. Let's watch this again. I think I'm going to pause at the right spot. Right there. So this is my definition I've been thinking of. If it's longer than the boat, it's a waterfall. Okay. If it's shorter than the length of the boat, it's a drop. So this, I might call a drop. Right? Maybe, I don't know, it's a kind of a tough thing. But I've seen a lot of cataracts attempt to run waterfalls. It usually doesn't end well. The cataracts. What do you want to do?
Can you go back to the other footage that we were watching before?
No, I got rid of it. The Houston Falls?
Yeah, because I had a question about, now that I'm watching this and thinking about it a little bit, is that I feel like the problem with Houston was they just have too much momentum. They're all like I would be back paddling at the top of it, trying to slow down, I think.
No,
So
I mean,
what
what the commercial guides
to...
do is way before even you get to it. They have everybody. They don't take momentum into it. The thing is, there's a lot of there's current going into it, so you can have a certain amount of momentum. But if you back paddle, people don't have time to get down. So they follow this like current of water, and you're like, get down, and then the guide kind of just rudders to keep it straight, and then grabs the bottom and holds on.
I would try to find a way to dump momentum.
It's not really possible. You really can't.
Yeah, I mean
but momentum is good if you hit it right, because you kind of just go and you almost boof over it. Like the really clean lines, it's like it's nothing. It's not even there. And so the momentum, like when I'm running it, I want momentum because I want to just like, you don't want to go over it, and you don't want to go and then go straight down like that. You want to get out a little bit. Like if you kayaking it, if you don't have speed and you plug it, it's super ugly. So kayaking it, you want to take a big boof stroke and try to launch over it. I think that's the same for rafts. Sorry, that was a lot of extra stuff, but
we got a ton of comments.
All right, let's get to some of these. I think some do and some don't. I think I can predict usually it's going to be a disaster. But some, I think, you're definitely right, Adam. John, a lot of them don't. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I haven't run that many waterfalls in a raft.
It depends what you call a waterfall versus a drop, and I think it depends on the boat you're running the drop in. And I think it depends on that, the raft, how the raft's configured, how much weight you have in it. There's a lot of things that, like, I think there's ways to run waterfalls. I mean, there's guys that do it. We know guys that do it who run waterfalls pretty consistently well.
In a raft?
In a raft, right?
I think there's been a lot of inconsistency on running waterfalls. There's like, that's the thing is like, I think Hewsome is about the length of the boat. So I'm not going to call Hewsome a waterfall. And I have a bunch more videos coming. So I'm going to say Hewsome is just a big rapid. It has a vertical drop. And then there's like slides that go down. But the big vertical waterfalls, I don't think anybody's really styling those out day after day.
Well, if they're well over a boat length, yeah.
I don't think anybody's crushing that day after day. We'll see some more videos in a second. I mean, Dinky is a bunch of waterfalls. I've never done it, but I know it's a bunch of waterfalls in California.
Didn't the three of us try to do that together and we got skunked?
No.
Doug, I remember we were definitely there together, Zach. I remember we tried to do it. I thought Doug was there too.
Dinky?
Yeah.
Was that some fork of the Kauai? I don't think I've ever gone there.
That's up on the Kauai. We were trying to go up on the Kauai and do it, and we were up there. And it was
Dinky's not on the Kauai. I think we might have gone. Dougie and I went.
Oh, you're right. We were on the Kauai. Yeah.
Dougie and I did North Fork Kauai, Upper North. We hiked in, and there were some waterfalls up there, but that was kayaks. That wasn't rafts. If you're gonna watch it in December. I mean, that's a carnage reel. So I mean, if you go out there, that's the thing is if you go out on like a Saturday, when the white salmon's like 1.7 feet, it's just like nice. It's like line after line crushing it, with the occasional disaster. And it depends what Canyon Creek you're talking about, Nathan. The one in Washington, or there's a few others that are steep. Yeah, it's a good point. So it is. I mean, I would say that Hewsome is repeatable. Because if you have your whole thing dialed in, it does go pretty well. I mean, they're doing it day in, day out. But you have to have guides who are like out there just day in, day out, crushing it out, not just showing up for a white salmon trip once a week. You can't come off of a river and go do a white salmon month and expect to have good Hewsome lines on your second or third day. I think it takes a lot of practice. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you mess up a few times before you get it dialed.
So what do you look for to have it dialed? What's the goal?
A waterfall like Hewsome?
Yeah. What are you doing? What's dialing it in mean? What's
it means not having swimmers.
Well, what are the keys? What are the variables that you're dialing in?
I think just left to right.
Prepping
where
your
you
crew.
are, where you enter, and then angle. Those are the main ones.
I think it's prepping your crew, having the line up top, how you hold onto the boat as a guide, and then making sure your boat's just topped off too, like having your gear styled. Like I think if your boat's, a lot of those I could just tell the boat was floppy at the top and it wasn't going to go well. But making sure your boat, your equipment's set up.
That's definitely true. For big drops, you need a stiff boat. Like you can't. The hypalon boats in general not good. You want
I took
nice,
an Avon, like a 12-foot Avon over that once. It didn't go well. It was a big mistake.
Yeah.
Conscious citizen. There we go. Use momentum. Yeah, and we'd love it if you answer that question that Aaron just had. What's the key to doing it day in, day out?
Yeah.
I've run Rainy a few times. I don't know if you guys have run it.
I run the right side all the time.
You mean the fish ladder? I personally think it's a crapshoot. I don't think there's much skill that goes into it, and I think once in a while it's just gonna be a violent hit. If you ran it every day, you'd probably have it dialed, but because you don't run it every day, it's kind of a crapshoot. It's really hard to see it's really hard to see where to go from going when you're heading into it. From shore, you see where to go, but there's no markers when you're going down. So it's kind of I don't know. I think it's kind of yeah. Canyon Creek in Washington is a great place to raft. Waterfalls. Yeah, there's some, but I think on Canyon Creek, most everything is less than a boat length. And the one that is bigger than a boat length, Big Kahuna, rafts flip there a lot. I mean, what do you think? Have you seen that, Nathan? Like a lot of rafts flipping at Big Kahuna? Let's keep plugging through some footage. I have a little cataract series here. Would you guys call this a waterfall?
It's hard to tell how big it is. It doesn't look that big.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that big either when I first watched it. Here it comes.
Oh, that's a little bigger.
Oh, that's pretty big.
Surprisingly big. That looks like a big cat too. My experience watching a lot of cataracts try to run waterfalls and big drops is this almost always happens. They don't go over straight for whatever reason. Getting a cataract straight over a waterfall is really hard to do.
Well, they pivot weird. Hell yeah! You can't pivot as you go over the drop well because one tube's stuck more on the rock than the other, and you're not pivoting in the middle. You're pivoting off of one of the tubes or the other tube. I bet.
I think this is the same guy from his point of view. I'm pretty sure. I found both videos on the line of this one. We'll fast forward past some of the.
Do we know where this is?
The river name's in there, but it's like I think it's called the Laurel, or I don't know. I'll have to look it up in a sec. So this is the same thing. Like he's trying to get momentum. He's pushing, which I don't think he needs momentum.
He's trying to get left, clearly.
Oh yeah, but then he does a good job. He stays in the boat.
Is my camera blinking? It damn sure better be.
All right.
Oh yeah.
I got more. I got 4 more of these guys. 5 more maybe. So this is Dougie. Do you know where this is?
No.
It's pretty close to our house. It's like 25 minutes away from here.
Okay.
It's over in Mosier. It's a swimming hole in the summer, and people swim here, and it's a big waterfall. And this is some Portland paddlers who I think are some of the best paddlers out there right now. These guys are crushing stuff, running big old Mosier. It's been run a handful of times. I'm guessing maybe by rafts, like 4 or 5 rafts have run this.
Wait, they're running this?
Yeah. This is Portland boating right here. This is Josh and Dan. Both just like and early in their career. These guys are burly paddlers.
Wow.
But I think that's the difference is this isn't a vertical waterfall. right? Like it's kind of a slide.
Yeah, it's a slope. That booth in the middle is pretty crazy.
And I don't know who is this. I don't think I know who this is. That was smooth.
Yeah.
Hey, Crazy Bill, you should come creature craft this waterfall. I'd love to see you creature craft that.
He probably
Did
want
they
a lot
have their
more.
weight-
He
they had their
probably
weight
want a
in-
lot more water. Go
They
ahead.
had their weight in the middle, but it looked like it was almost the way the boat ran. It was almost like their weight was further back.
I mean, I think the technique for running waterfalls is, I think, changing a bit. But the general technique that I've been using is you paddle up to the lip. I'm gonna try to pause it right here. You get the boat straight. Oh, they didn't show it. And then you lean. See how they're leaning back?
Okay.
Like those other two guys, you saw them grab something behind them. They
Yeah,
didn't reach
so-
them.
There's a line. This is back. I think they've been changing the technique. There's a line behind them that you kind of hook your elbow through. It's an entrapment.
Yeah.
But I mean, so they're grabbing. See how? Oh, let me go back right there. There we go. See how
yeah. There's a
that line? There, his elbow's under the line,
yeah. Wow.
and then Dan on the left side. He is grabbing the outside strap too, where Josh
Yeah.
isn't grabbing the outside strap. So they lean. They get set up, and then they lean back, and so the bow stays high to go over things.
Yeah.
And the next
Wow.
boat, you can watch them do the same thing. See, they grab that line in the back.
Okay.
I think, and they're paddling. They don't hold their T grips, but I think they're being conscious of them.
Yeah, they're pushing their TD groups away from them. Yeah. They are pretty far back. Their weight's
Yeah.
pretty far back, yeah.
Share screen. All right, plugging away. This one scares me. This one, he's R1ing it, and this feeling. When things get over like 30 feet, there's like for me at least, I get an awkward feeling at the top. I'm like, that's a long ways down. I've never rafted 30 feet, so it's kayaking, but like the feeling right there, we were like, that is a long way down. I'm about to go down that. Is a little unnerving to me. It should be unnerving to most people. But I mean, what do you guys think is going to happen?
Is he wearing knee pads?
Plug.
No.
What do you think is going to happen there?
Well, he's going to plug it. I think the inflation will stop the boat from going down, and he'll just fly off the front. But that's just.
His angle looks pretty good. I think he's going to kind of go like that, kind of kayak style.
That looks like the Pozo
Do you still think he is, Aaron? Do
What?
you still think he's going to do that?
Yeah.
Oh,
He went deep right at the end there. Dropped back there. Oh.
I think the boat just stopped and he got thrown out the front. I mean,
Yeah, it went steeper at the end. I thought he was. Yeah, he needs. Yeah, that's. Brutal.
I mean, it's really hard. You can't really get your nose up here.
No, exactly.
Oh,
We went over there at the end. It just kept going, kept rotating.
it's so painful.
Would you want to boop it and try to? Would you want to boop it and try to land flat?
It is the. I've
I don't
seen
think
that
you can
waterfall.
boof it. I don't think because you just can't, I don't think you have the ability.
No, it's.
I kind of want to go.
Boop it with your back end, catch the water going down, and just go backwards.
You can't boof a raft and land flat. It's just not a thing that's real like a kayak. People use the term boof for kayak for rafting all the time.
You can. I boofed many a rafts. R2 and you can boof them
and land flat like a kayak.
Yeah,
Like go off and go boom.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Well, it's
totally.
pretty rare. I think what you do is you go over and take a boof stroke and kind of go down at an angle and then pop up.
No, if you dig in and you like get on the edge and like throw yourself and really throw your hips forward,
You can land flat like a kayak.
You can land flat, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
pretty
I
flat.
don't think I've seen that, but cool.
That in the last video at Mosier Falls, they kind of boofed that middle drop.
Yeah, but
Maybe-
I think boofing usually is with
Yeah.
a vertical drop. And the
Yeah,
middle
way
drop,
flat,
they
yeah.
just hit it and they like a ski jump. I think
Okay.
boofing refers to there being like a hump and you kind of launching off a hump and
Okay.
landing flat on the backside.
Yeah.
I think this one he can't get speed. There's nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really
I
hard
actually-
to control. what
I've
you're
been to
gonna
that
do.
waterfall. I didn't run it. I was in a kayak that day, but I didn't run that waterfall.
Did
But
you
I
guys?
sat-
Was it in the middle of a run?
It's at the put-in, so you can go up above and run it, or you can just start there.
What river is it?
The Pozo Azul. It's near La Virgen de Sarapiquí, kind of central north.
Oh, that's cool.
And I watched like 6 people kayak it, and they weren't amazing kayakers, and they all did great. They just had to really tuck at the bottom, tuck forward.
We got a bunch of comments. We're kind of
All
getting.
right, let's get to that. Let's get to it. Big Kumba. I think that's because it's so long. A lot of boats flip there. Yeah, you can. I think it can be done sort of repeatably in rafts, but there's such a. I should have video of Big Kahuna, but I don't right now. But I think it can kind of be done repeatedly in rafts, but a lot of people struggle there. Nathan's a really good cat boater. We had that Golden Gate video. Remember that Golden Gate video?
Mm-hmm.
Aaron of he like seal launching from the rock.
Yeah.
Crazy. And he has really cool foam rollers, which are really, that he uses to keep himself in, which is pretty cool. Looks like which one was a big Ruckachucky? This one?
I think the other one, the one before.
Mosier.
Mike Williams can boof flap. Huh, that's cool. It's just like I maybe do it once in a while, but to repeatedly use that technique like you would, like you could, like in a kayak, you could boof it locomotive on Giant Gap and boof that hole. I don't think a raft you can get that same thing.
I tried to boof that hole once. It didn't go very well.
Yeah, I've seen you try to boof that hole once and not go well. Was it that same time or another time?
No, you weren't there that time.
Was that the time you lost your kayak, Zach?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Doug, I was there when Dougie swam it twice.
Actually, no, I didn't lose my kayak that day, Aaron. That was, yeah.
You just lost a raft.
No, we didn't lose any gear.
You lost a raft. You did. Remember, we were lying in the raft. You lost the raft.
Not that day though. Yeah, but not that day.
Oh, not that day.
Yeah, losing that raft, that really sucked. I hate that. Oh my gosh.
How'd you guys lose a raft?
Aaron, I'll say it. Maybe you remember differently because I'd be curious. But we were lining the boat down, and I think there was an anchor there.
There's a bunch of anchors. There's a bunch of anchors along there.
So we were like, let's just use that anchor and put the rope through that, and then something popped. Right? Didn't the rope break?
Well, there was a couple problems. There's a lot of problems today. The first problem is there was some swimmers in Nutcracker right above, and one of the boats pulled in someone just before turning and going off the drop, and they disappeared.
Right, John Lane. Yeah,
John Lane's boat. And then Bubba told us we need to get after him, and we're all like each other, like, nah. Either they're made it, they're okay. If they didn't make it, they're not okay. Why are we going to fall them off something that they're not okay with to go rescue them? We're just going to make things worse. So then we went down. It took us like a long time to line the boats. And I think the problem was when we tried to line the boat, we clipped straight on to the back of the back of the boat. So it got dropped down and just got stuck out there in the current, and we couldn't get it over to shore. It was something weird. Like it wouldn't come over to shore, and there's a kind of force on it. And I can't remember if you cut the rope or if the rope broke. Or what broke, but I remember it was like stuck out there in the current, and then we had to pile everyone into 2 rafts.
Yeah.
And then we go down a few bends, and there's the boat, the bow line. It got stuck. It was one of those webbing bow lines. It got stuck in a rock underneath the river, and the boat just sitting in the middle of the river, just hanging out, waiting for us.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think we definitely didn't cut it. I think we tried to untie it and hold it by hand, and then it got jerked.
That's it. That sounds right. Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay.
That sounds right. Yeah.
I
remember there was a problem. There was a lot of the force and the angle, and I was like, if we had done it to a corn, not done to the front, but then a side where we would have wanted the pendulum in, that probably would have worked better for us. I remember thinking afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That was good learning experience.
All right. Oh yeah.
I didn't know this has ever been rafted, but this is the Siete Tiesas. Am I saying that? Is my Espanol good, Dougie? In Chile. Siete Tiesas.
Paddleboarding? They're going to go paddleboard this?
No, are wanting it. So this is where I'm thinking, as we're talking about this, I think about rafting waterfalls here and there. I think we all agree having a paddle crew is challenging. think R2ing is pretty effective, but the people that are really crushing it right now are R1ing it. Like R1ing big drops, because I think that one of the, and this is, I love this show because I can throw an idea out and get people's thoughts, whether it's you guys or the audience. I think one of the problems with R2ing waterfalls is two people, the line that you're being straight at the top is key. Like if you guys disagree or somebody strokes the wrong way, the boat's not going to go over straight and you're going to have a problem. And so the teamwork aspect makes it hard to keep the boat straight at the right time. You have to have the angle and angular momentum correct. So with R1ing, it's just you. And so there's nobody to mess up your line. Because I'm seeing people crush waterfalls in R1s lately.
It seems like the boat pops out a little better too when it's just on one tube versus both landing. There's the weights on one side. It seems like it's kind of, for some reason. Oh, that one isn't so pretty.
And I think also, like, there's not somebody else's T grip that can hit you or somebody else to fall into. Like, you can fall in the middle of the raft and there's not going to be somebody there in your way. And so there's people like Aaron Erdick right now who are just crushing it R1ing. Or, Aaron Erdick is running the truss as much as he, like no problem in his little 10-foot mini max. I can barely get down the middle white salmon. Anyway, I thought that was a cool video.
I've never R1'd.
Oh, you should, Freshie. It's actually kind of fun. It's scary at first. It's hard to explain.
I don't understand how you move your weight in the middle for the drops in the middle of the boat so you don't flip. But you just move it in the middle, huh?
How you don't
still have to
flip. I don't know. You
still have to paddle.
The hard part for me is like driving places, because when you paddle straight, the boat turns.
Right. And
so you can do like J strokes, but still, when you need to drive, when you're used to kayaking and you're used to driving into eddies, you can't do that. So I'm always trying to, I'm like, you have to start way, way earlier and plan way further ahead. Okay. So this is in a race as part of the Northwest Creeking competition. This is a big event in the Northwest in the spring. This is racing over waterfalls. So this is actually a head-to-head race, and here they go. They're going over.
Is this
Sunset
the
Falls.
East Fork of the Lewis?
East Fork of the Lewis, yeah. So this is the sunset.
I don't understand. How is it a race if they're just like waiting for the person to go in front of them?
Boat safety, Aaron. Boat safety.
I mean, the part of the race. So, like, let me go back. So at this point, a couple things. There is a left line, so you could take the left line. And a lot of people go left. For this day, for whatever reason, everybody didn't want to take the left line. I think this day was high water. So I think once you've got to here, you kind of catch your breath. Everybody's like, okay, we're winded. Let's catch our breath. Like, we're not going to
no one's even racing. They're just
here they were racing.
It's like a no passing zone or something.
But it's like not, you could pass, but you're pretty tired and you're like, let me just focus on like getting my line straight to go over this waterfall. And this was the finish line for this race, but this day, this drop was the finish line.
Yeah.
Is that the finish? Did they finish then, or are they not finished yet? Do they have to get back in their boat?
I can't remember the rules. I think they have to get back in the boat. I think you had to get back in your boat and do something. I can't remember what it was, but I remember you couldn't flip and win the race. You had to run it nicely. And then yeah, there's a massive audience there, by the way. There's probably 50, 100 people watching on shore during this race, maybe more.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah. And the boat just goes.
That's a tough race, man.
Yeah.
But you can't pass.
No, normally, so you can pass. I mean, with this, I think I raced this day, if I remember right. I think it might be us in the yellow boat. I can't remember. But normally the race starts just above here and it goes through all the rapids on the East Lewis and then finishes at a different waterfall. But it was high water. So what they did was they did the upstream section, which is like class 2, easy 3. So we had just raced like 5 miles to get here, something like that. So we'd just been jockeying for position forever.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was tired. And it was like, okay, once we get here, Like you're not going to pass somebody in this calm water. I mean, if they tried to, that would be. You don't want to go this waterfall next to some like this blue boat could have tried to pass right here, but it's just asking for trouble. But this day, I mean, see these guys are ahead of. They have a nice run. It's kind of a little bit of a boof, but yeah, you definitely needed a half back. Ooh. And it's a tiny boat. Okay, last video before Aaron yawns. When Aaron yawns on his own show, that's when we know it's time to finish it. So this is Pitt River Falls, I think it's called. I've never done this. It's on the Pitt River in California. And I think there's a Rafting magazine video. Have you guys done this?
Mm-mm.
I've done a couple sections out on the Pitt, but not this section with the waterfall.
You know that the Pitt is the headwaters of the Upper Sacramento. It's the longest. If you go from the headwaters of the Pitt to the Bay Area, it's the longest river in California.
Yeah.
Well known fact.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
Somebody sea kayaked that whole way. I remember not
Really?
by this stuff, but they portaged this. But yeah, I think it was a
They
9-day trip.
They portage Box Canyon on the Upper Sac.
Probably.
I'm guessing that'd be rough.
Yeah.
You know.
But this doesn't. This comes in below Box Canyon though.
It does? No.
Yeah.
Does it really?
Yeah. It comes into Lake Shasta. So what would have happened is back in the day, if you'd started way up on Upper Sacramento, you would have floated down. Then McLeod would have come in, and then the Pitt would have come in, and then you would have come down to the bottom. I got a visitor here.
Big Kahuna rafting. I'm gonna Google big. See if there's a video of Big Kahuna. We can shut this show down. Here we go. So we were talking about with Nathan a little bit. Canyon Creek. What's up, Ada? Welcome to the show. So this is Canyon Creek, in Washington, and this is Big Kahuna. And I think this is Rafting magazine as well. Yeah, great job, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the one where it's longer than the length of a raft, so it's a little unpredictable, but it's like these guys all had good lines.
Yeah, that was a really nice line.
So let's get to comments and shut this show down. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm not sure how long I'm going to be able to participate here. So, that's good.
So I think that's an issue with R2. We've had this talk about rafting as well. Like to R2 or to raft, you kind of have to have a consistent team. That's one of the hardest parts. So that's a good point. Like if you had like two of you that would always have the same schedule and could always go, like Doug, you and I could be R2 partners.
Yeah.
Right? Like we could, we live in the same place. We like each other enough. We could probably become R2 partners, but it's hard to find an R2 partner that can always go with you when you want to go get rad. And so that's the advantage of R1ing, of rowing cats, kayaking, all those things. So anything to add, gentlemen?
No, I feel like running waterfalls is really a kayaker sport in general. I
think I would reframe that. I think
kayaks. I'm way better at rafting than I am at kayaking, and I've run way bigger waterfalls in a kayak than I have in a raft.
I would reframe that. I don't think rafts and catarafts do well in waterfalls. Just by the nature of what they are. They're not as precise, and they have a lot of volume. And so you have the potential of just hitting hard. With a kayak, you kind of can go deep a little bit and cushion the fall. In a raft, you with all that volume, you're just going to smash and hit something. So I think that's a big downside of rafts. The people I know who have tried to raft some like 40, 50 footers, there's been some pretty bad accidents out there.
You'd have to have it'd be interesting to design a raft for running waterfalls, what that would look like. And I think it'd be a lot different than what we have today. Looking, much more of a pointed nose type of thing. So it'd slice in more and like come out. I don't know, or maybe you would want it rounded up front so you could drop off any side.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, I think the key, in my experience, limited experience rafting waterfalls, but also talking to people watching, is like you got to go off straight. Like you have to have whatever you do, you have to go off straight. Any angle is just asking for trouble, and you want to try to get the nose up a little bit so you don't go straight down and fall at the front. And so being able to like boof, like you guys were talking about, I think if it's like 20 plus feet, you don't want to land flat, which I don't think is even possible, but it might be. But you want to kind of come down at an angle so it kind of goes and up. And I think getting the boat to go off the drop straight with an angle is really hard to do in a raft, where with a kayak, you just have so much more control over the boat.
Yeah, definitely more fine control with the kayak. And I'm curious, like I would be curious to see how a raft that's shaped like a kayak would do.
You mean a ducky?
But more like what are those things called? What are those ones that certain people really like? Those high performance duckies that come to a point. The super
duckies. They're called duckies, Aaron. We call them high performance.
One brand in particular, the Thrill Seeker, more like the Thrill Seeker.
The Thrill Seekers are the worst for waterfalls, I would think, because they're so pointed.
There's more buoyancy.
Oh, it's weird buoyancy, but like when you hit, it's like falling on a pin. You're going to fall one way or the other. You have to have something up front so that you keep going straight, I would think.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just want it to cut into the water a little bit. I don't want it to stop as soon as it, hits the water. I feel like that's the big problem with a lot of them.
I think the Thrill Seeker is too pointy. I think something like the idea, but less of a just absolute point.
If there's to be a raft, it would need to have so much flotation. Like a kayak is pointy and it can do that, but a raft is just inherently so much more flotation, so much more buoyant. I don't think you could have it pointy and have it dive.
Yeah. Well, we actually have somebody who's an audience member who actually has rafted waterfalls and is good at it. Nathan's made some comments. I don't think it's just for kayakers, but that's the thing. You have to have a committed team to train. You have to have you can't just you and Dougie and I go out tomorrow and run waterfalls. We'd practice, we'd warm up, we'd get better, we'd talk about it. Or I wouldn't just grab so-and-so as our two partner and say, let's go run a waterfall. I think that's a great point, Nathan. Is like, it takes people who are like, we want to get rad. Like we want to be a committed team to practice. And we're commit to learning how to go over, drop straight and bringing the nose up. And the more, as I think about it, remember, I think getting the nose up is key. When you paddle and then you lean back and grab a strap, that kind of does bring the nose up, right?
Yeah.
Like the process of you leaning back brings the nose up a little bit. So I like that technique a lot. A framed paddle cat over waterfalls. Interesting. Like a Vladimir style on your knees paddle cat. Sounds scary to me, actually. All the metal. But I'd love to see it, Nathan. I'm not doubting you. I'm just, wow. Big twos and a blunt nose for rafting waterfalls. I don't know. I mean, it depends. Again, 20 foot, 30 foot people.
Yeah.
It depends on the size.
It depends how big we're talking. Exactly. Like, yeah, I think for not very big, the blunt, that'll work fine. But as they get bigger, that can be a problem.
Like that Costa Rica one, I'm trying to think, what would help? Like, how could that not be a disaster?
I can't think of a boat shape that would help that much.
Yeah.
I mean, that boat the person was in was pretty good. Short, small.
I mean, the paddle cat, now think about it, because it is kind of like a kayak. Like if you can go over straight,
yeah,
like the bow will pierce in and like stop your fall and then pop back up. It won't be like as distinct as hitting it so hard. Like the frame paddle cat will pierce through the water a little bit.
Yeah.
Rafts and falls for fun or for the challenge, or for the photo or for the gram. I think a lot of reason.
I mean,
for the YouTube.
The challenge is not it's not as hard as a rapid some other rapid might be, because it's just the entrance. And Aaron's got something to say.
I agree. I think that a lot of waterfalls require no skill. Other
That's
than like
sort of true with kayaking waterfalls.
same with kayaking. A lot of waterfalls require
Whoa,
limited
hold
skill.
on. No skill. If it requires no skill, go do it. But you say there's certain guys who can routinely run them. It takes a ton of skill, and we don't want to.
Waterfall.
You're right.
I'm just gonna say like what's a hard waterfall? I don't like. Let's just say like a clean 20-footer. I'd much rather just run a clean 20-footer than run Mushroom on Cherry Creek. Like Mushroom on Cherry Creek requires a high level of skill. Right? There's rapids that are very difficult that you can make sizable mistakes on. A lot of waterfalls, you just line up and fall over it. Like Sunset Falls that we were watching that where the race was. There's some skill, but not like class 5 skill. Like all you have to do is make your boat go straight and lean back, and you're going to be fine. Versus like the level of skill. I mean, that can be taught, that can be practiced. But to like get a raft down Cherry Creek is a whole other beast. Or whatever, the Green Truss, or like I think Dougie's point is like maneuvering rapids requires more skill than just dropping over a waterfall sometimes. Huh, that's interesting. Nathan, I'd love to see some video of this. I'm super fast if you have video. I mean, if we can review it, it'd be super cool. But even if we can't review it and you want to share it with me, I'd love to see it because you have me interested. So, well, it looks like Aaron's about to fall asleep, so it's probably time to shut this show down. Jeez, we've bored Aaron enough. Aaron, Dougie, are you as bored as Aaron?
I did yawn once, but no, I don't think so.
God, that's
Aaron, what time is it? Where you are?
He's on mute right now.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there.
Yeah, I gotta be muted. Yeah, you can wrap. You gotta have to wrap this up for us today, Zach.
Okay. All right, cool. Oh, here we go. Is that Jeremiah? Jeremiah, I'd love to see some footage of you guys. You guys are doing cool stuff. So, yeah, well, thanks for everybody watching. This is a show Aaron and I and sometimes Dougie Fresh do on Fridays at 2 p.m. Oh, we got a Heidi. We bailed on a Heidi comment a few weeks ago. I might as well get to her. I think it depends on the river you're doing. I think a little bit. I rarely run a perimeter line. So my opinion is you can usually do fine with that one. And extra handles are a great solution. But that's my opinion. And I'm sure a lot of people disagree with me. A lot of people, especially Oregon, think perimeter lines are mandatory. I think you can get away without them sometimes, but that's just opinion. So, yeah, this is a show we do every Friday at 2 p.m. We'd love to have you. Don't forget to hit that like button. It costs you nothing. Just hit it. Just tap it. We appreciate it. It makes us feel cool. Other people can learn about the show. Subscribe if you want to. Again, it costs you nothing. You just support us, and we very much appreciate it. You can also pay a couple bucks to become a member to support what we're doing. We're saving up to buy Aaron a new camera and maybe some babysitting. And so, yeah, if you want to support the show, that'd be cool. Maybe I'll take Dougie out to dinner. And maybe I'll buy myself a ski helmet. I already have one. But yeah, hey Aaron, I have one question for you.
All right, go for it. What is it?